no idea. I'm going to get there late, but that's okay. Because any damage I can do to peasants, to towers, whatever, I've gone over this. It's great. Slow it down as much as possible. It's already very slow because it's Twisted Meadows and because I forced him to heal the Mountain King. Again, this is, I think I made a mistake here, and debatable. I didn't realize that he had the Scroll of Regeneration, the Healing Scroll or whatever, on the Mountain King, so he's going to be able to heal after this, and I don't have enough mana to continue right-clicking him, or I'm going to get bolted and killed, which would be unfortunate, and I just gave him that Ogre Magi kill, which is not so great. And there he uses the Scroll of Regeneration, so he's healing in the back of his base, and I can't enter and attack him because I don't have the mana. If I could have forced a port there on his part, that probably would have been the game, because then I'm left with just these towers and the peasants to take out by myself with my grunts. And the next time he tries to get the expansion up, I'll have Shadowhunter and Hex. So that's that's pretty much his window. You know, if the expansion's not up by the time I have my Shadowhunter, it's not going up at all, and he's going to lose the game. But regardless, so you see how I played that. I mentioned it earlier. Just try to stay out of range of Mountain King and the bolts, focusing down that weak footman, because why not? I probably should be taking down a tower while the peasants are running. His Mountain King Scroll of Regeneration or whatever only does, I think, 400 healing, so he's still at half HP. He bolted the Blade Master trying to force a port, so I surrounded it with the grunts. That's not a very difficult thing to do, but it just makes it impossible for him to surround it, which keeps him alive. And you're going to see he has enough mana that there's just no way I can keep this grunt alive. He gets the surround off on it. Because he just used that surround, though, okay, that was a mistake on my part. I came back in and then realized he had more mana, so I'm forced to port before I lose my my Blade Master. Anyways, the Shadowhunter is out. You'll notice I've gone with the dual bestiary option. The decision making behind that was I delayed his expansion enough that he's going to have delayed towers in his main, I pray, I hope. So Fast Vern, I'm going to counter Expo just to be safe instead of heading straight to his base with Verns. It's always safer to counter Expo instead of hoping that you can get there in time for the towers to not be up and then win the game that way. Plus it drops a pretty decent item, not amazing, but it has the potential to drop Claws, for example, Claws +9. So I send, you see, I'm going to be sending a peasant down sometime soon, I hope. My Vern are out, and I'm going to be expanding right away, which my expansion won't actually be much later than his, at least not in terms of economic advantage, because like I said, he had to spend a lot of money on the towers and such. Plus I've already got my tech. One thing I didn't mention before, I'm sure you've seen it in the past, maybe not so much as Orc, but human fast expansion with Archmage, for example, versus Undead. They'll do that a lot. The problem with Archmage, I mean, he's easier to kill, which is one of the weaknesses you're going to exploit. If they go Archmage, you're going to go Raiders, most likely, and Walkers, and pound away at their expansion, right-click the Archmage when you can, when he exposes himself. The problem with Mountain King is that he doesn't die, but the trade-off is that he doesn't have water elementals, and so like I said, he has no anti-air, which means if towers aren't up in his base by the time your Verns get there, there's not too much you can do to stop you from taking down his base. And you'll see I really nearly, I should have just let my Verns attack again. I would have taken down that guard tower before it got up. And if I'd gotten that guard tower, it would have been probably an instant game right there. But you're going to see what happens. I get into his base and do some considerable damage before he's completely towered it off. And you'll notice those two Verns, I had to micro them back because they'd taken too much damage. Try not to be careless about losing Verns. Their piercing damage is very useful. They're very expensive. You'll see I pulled them both back. Very good job on my part not losing Verns there. He ports in because obviously you can't let his main die. Healing Wave goes off. I noticed that his Mountain King is very weak. Why not focus it if he wants to be that aggressive with it? That's the next thing I'm going to do, I believe. He has, because he's tier 1, keep this in mind, he has no healing in his shop, no instant healing like a healing potion or whatever. So even though I'm going to lose Verns doing this, and obviously that can't be helped to a certain extent. Yeah, I lost both Verns there. It's very worth it for that kill. And I'm going to take out all these peasants, so these are peasants he has to replace, or he can't mine gold here. And because yeah, I'm losing a lot of stuff to these towers, but the trade-off is he's not mining gold, and he's got to replace those workers, which is hugely to my advantage because my mine is safely up. My first mine and my second mine, my expansion, is almost up. So you see it's going to take me quite a while to take down this expansion. But I'm now pumping Verns, and you know, here I could have probably brought out that Blade Master faster, but to my mind it was almost worth it to take down that tower. Unfortunately, he blocked, I don't know how, but he blocked that place with the Shredder, or I guess I blocked myself in as well, so I cost myself the Blade Master. It was probably going to die anyway, frankly, but it was worth it entirely, because now what I can do, and what I've done, Shadow Hunter and one Vern, I put them in range of the gold miners, but out of range of the towers, and I press hold. So all they're going to do is attack whatever's mining gold, and they're not going to chase if he micros them towards the towers, which is what I want, because even though I'm not really accomplishing too much, I'm killing, you know, one peasant at a time every few seconds, what I am doing is negating the advantage of his expansion. It's basically like he only has one expansion at this, or sorry, one mine at this point. He doesn't even have an expansion at this point because I've taken out his main. So this is the strength of the mass Ferns and being aggressive. I mean, when you get in his base like this, there's not too much he can do when he's tier 1. I mean, he's not going to be able to build towers up underneath my nose. He's trying right now, you'll see. And when I see that, I just bring the Verns in, and Verns just destroy those scout towers so quickly, and that it costs them significantly to lose those carelessly. And once you get enough Verns, you can actually take down the guard towers more efficiently. I noticed the Mountain King went up there, so that's too bad. It's a level 3 Mountain King, so it took a little bit longer than normal to come back. And I'm probably going to lose, I don't recall if I lose my Shadow here. No, I'm forced to run. I take down the guard tower. It cost me a Vern, but it was entirely worth it, because an Arcane Tower really doesn't do a significant amount of damage, 10 to 12, or 8 to 10, sorry, piercing damage. Versus your 570 health Wyvern, it's really negligible. And I've killed all his peasants, so he has nothing to repair it. He has pretty much no way of taking out these Verns. I micro that one back. It's going to get bolted and killed here anyway, but that's okay. Totally okay. Because once again, he's not, I mean, this is I have free control and free reign over his base. So that's well done on my part. If you look at his expansion, he's teched there, so he's not going to be tier 1 for long, but he has no economic advantage that I now do significantly have, because if you'll notice, I have an expansion up, and I've chosen to go tier 3. Entirely unnecessary on my part at this point. I just sort of wanted to go tier 3. Because it has its advantages, and I had enough gold to do it. Very intelligent move on his part was to go to this Merc camp, which he knew he couldn't creep out, and get both the Troll Berserker and the Shadow Priest. This is going to allow him to have some artificial tier 1 anti-air, and maybe help him versus these mass Verns. Of course, the Berserker dies pretty quickly to a little focus fire. I cancelled the clarity on the Mountain King. I don't know if you noticed that. Pretty important not to let him get mana if you can prevent it. And then these towers just are not going to go up. They die woefully quickly to Wyvern focus fire. And I probably, yeah, he cancels it. He knows it's not going to go up, and it's just going to be a waste of resources. And then I just have free control over his base. And at this point, he said, yeah, I think he has to give up on the base. It's a lost cause for him, and he wants to know if I've counter expanded. So that's what he does with his Mountain King. He sends it to check expansion spots. And I mean, in his mind, he's thinking, you know, he got Verns pretty quickly. Maybe he just went straight to my base once he got Verns, which is pretty common for more players. So he's probably hoping that I don't have an expansion at this point. In which case, it's still 1 mine versus 1 mine, even though I'm taking out his main. The nice thing though is I've gone tier 3. I have the lodge up, and I've banked quite a bit of gold. My war mill's going up. Like I mentioned earlier, Bloodlust helps so much versus all these mass air strategies. It's what I prefer to do. Go for it. If the game had gone longer than it's going to go on, I probably would have gotten an Alchemist or a Panda. Looking at his base, 2 Aviaries going up. Arcane Vault. It's pretty secure tower-wise. I'm not going to be able to get in there. If I'd scouted his base position at the moment, I probably would have sent my Verns to the